This podcast contains some magical adult language. Listener discretion is advised. And sorry, Mom.
I'm going to Disney World. I'm going to...
Whoa. You're not Mickey Mouse, you're a rat.
Rat smack! Besides, they're tourists. What do they know?
Welcome to Rat Castle, a progressive chat about theme park magic without the pixie dust. I am your very sleepy cat dad, Nathan Hartman. We'll talk more about that in a second. But with me are some excellent rats and a wonderful rat guest. We have Victoria. Hello, Victoria.
Wingapo.
Oh,
What?
there you go.
What'd you say?
Did you not see Pocahontas?
I mean, like 1,000 years ago.
Yeah, that's all.
Yeah.
Huh? My bad.
Sorry, we're not as cultured as you, Victoria.
Sorry,
watching the classic Disney historically accurate Pocahontas.
Listen, I wiped that out of my memory. I wiped it out.
Yeah. Sarah, hello, Sarah.
Hello.
Welcome. And with us once again after being in Miami and working lots and lots, somehow he's able to make it on this week. Dave, welcome back, Dave.
Hi, everybody.
It's good to see him. And then, of course, one of our favorites who has returned, our Halloween queen, Hallow-queen.
I will take that title.
Hallow-queen, it's yours.
I'm here for it. Perfect.
Yeah. Our good friend Jess. Hi, Jess. How are you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing very, very well for the most part. As I sort of mentioned to you guys earlier, I'm very sleepy. My poor kitty cat has a gum disease, and that gum disease meant that to be comfortable, he had to get all of his teethers out. And he's okay, and it's fine. That's something cats can have done, and it's not a big deal for them in the end. But I had to get up at 4:30 in the morning and travel an hour and a half to a surgeon who showed me a bill that
God, not the bill.
Not the bill.
The hair on my head. I'm wearing a hat because it's all white.
Did it hurt your feelings?
Whatever I made up thanks to a teaching a summer course is no more. And
Do you have pet insurance?
no, because I never needed it before.
That's what insurance is for.
It's low-key in a scam anyway, because you have to pay it up front and then they just reimburse you.
Yeah, it's like
not
$1,000
insurance.
deductible.
Yeah.
Right.
It's $1,000 deductible. It's only good for like big stuff. So
Yeah.
Well, that would have been nice.
sorry.
Did you take the cat to like an emergency hospital?
Not an emergency. It was not an emergency at all.
Okay.
This is just something they've been dealing with, and the best surgeon for that is in Annapolis, and they're very quick, and they were amazing, and they are definitely worth what you pay for. Sorry, I'm literally looking at my cat right now because his recovery room is where I'm recording, and he's just kind of sitting with his cone.
Cone of shame.
He might be trying to do a pee. I'm not sure what's going on. He's just gonna lay. No,
But he's drugged up, right?
He's still a little drugged up and numb. Usually speaking, just to be very clear, I'm going to explain. He's currently now sitting in his litter box, but we have it's not his litter box. It's like a thing for this room that we put together so he could be in here. And so it's just like he likes tiny spaces. And so he's not like doing that thing where you look, hey, my cat's in the litter box. And they're like, he's going to die in 10 minutes because he's sleeping in his litter box. Like, he's just looking at me. Now he's moving again.
Drugged pets are a certain sort of like sad, but also kind of entertaining.
Yeah, he's figuring it out.
Ziggy was zoned out once, and he was just like staring at something in the middle distance, and it was like you could do this and just nothing. It was and he would like shake and look at me and shake and look back. It was adorable.
Oh,
he's now back on the bed. I might be able to. You know what? Why not? Let's see if I can. We have a whole recovery situation here. There he is.
There he is.
Sweet with his collar.
dang! He has a whole bed.
He does. We have this is our guest bedroom too. It sits in the closet normally and has a frame and everything. But he had to be sequestered for 24 hours, because we have another cat who's very, very upset about the fact that there is there is a vet smell in the house. Not happy about it.
I wouldn't be either.
And so he just is enjoying hanging out in here. And he just Katie's. Oh, excuse me. Oh, so Katie is sleeping in here last night and then probably tonight just because he's happy in here. So we're just keeping an eye on him. And usually, if we're not doing stuff, we can take his cone off and just keep an eye so he doesn't rub and do that kind of stuff and ruin his sutures. But so I'm exhausted to say the least.
I
felt that.
And so I am drinking a beer and enjoying this conversation with you guys.
Yeah, it was loud here last night, I'll tell you that.
Ooh.
Yeah, my problems are nothing compared to what Jess had to deal with. Jess, you just went through the hurricane.
Yes, I did.
Jess, are you in Orlando or?
I'm in Seminole County. So, I mean, I'm about 20 minutes.
Could you give us the specific address, please? Just so.
Well,
zip code included.
No, but I'm near Sanford. So if you know where Sanford is, I'm pretty close to there. So honestly, like, it was pretty uneventful here. It's just loud. But we were very lucky because people just, 20 minutes towards Orlando did not fare as well. So I think it just, we were very fortunate.
Came in as a Cat 3, if I recall.
Into Tampa, but by the time it got here, it was down to a 1. But
still, it can get rough.
And we're lucky we never lost power or anything like that. So, but dealing with that with 2 children in the house is a whole other animal. And my kids are old enough. Victoria, that is your niece and nephew you are talking trash about. I
wasn't talking
angry.
trash. I just said those are your children.
That niece of yours is feral. Let me tell you that right now.
Oh, I know.
But they're old enough. They're 9 and 11, so they're old enough to like be very aware of what's happening and hear about it at school. So it's I can't really just say like, oh, it's just the rain. Like they're very aware.
Right.
Yeah.
They're like, we know what a cat 3 is, what a cat 5 is.
My son's middle school friends are not exactly drama free, so they were hyping it up quite a lot.
I was in Orlando during the one in '99. I forget the name of that one. But I went through that, right, and it was stressful. It was stressful. I mean, in California, you have a different kind of stress. Like, you never know when an earthquake's going to hit. This was actually kind of more stressful because he knew it was coming. It was weird.
It's funny, Dave. I had this conversation with my best friend from high school. I've known her like 21 years at this point, but she lives in Orange County in the mountains, and they're dealing with the wildfires right now. And she messaged me freaking out, trying to get me to evacuate. I was like, listen, like, if you didn't have to evacuate for wildfires, I think we're going to be okay. She had one that was like an hour away from her, and she was like ready to go. So she, I
think I solved the problem. You just need to bring the hurricane to her, and that'll take care of all the fire. Why is this so hard?
Then they're going to have mudslides. We don't need that.
Well, don't you know, us progressives, we control the weather. So
apparently.
Oh my gosh.
No way those people have the same vote as me. There's no way. Like, I don't understand how that's even possible.
The beauty of this country, Sarah, is that they do. And also, hopefully they are busy on election day.
Well, anyway, I was telling my whole family that this is I've been here in January. It'll be 15 years since I moved here. And I told them, I was like, listen, this is not my first hurricane. It will not be my last. Like,
no, I am so thrilled not to live in Florida anymore because I already know that this semester would have been absolute dog shit. Because it would have, I'm sure they've closed twice now. And just worthless.
A lot of them are just doing, a lot of them, a couple of local schools are doing online just for the rest of the semester.
Yeah. Oh,
wow.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, there's a couple in Tampa that have switched to fully online ever since. So.
Well, soon soon it's going to be so hot in Florida that everyone will just do everything online because you can't leave unless you can wear one of those like suits that Homer wears in the nuclear suit, whatever it is. Anyway, with that wonderful news, let's go to some the news.
Sorry.
That needs to be left in.
Well, I'm leaving that in.
Girl,
I wasn't prepared.
Yeah. Okay.
I love you so much. That was perfect timing.
Wow.
Oh.
And now the news. Speaking of Hurricane Milton, which, by the way, we're now naming. It's like we're naming hurricanes after perverts, is what it feels like. Like Milton.
Milton. The man that created Hershey Park was not a pervert.
You don't know that.
That you know of.
You don't know that.
A man passing out candy, Victoria.
Well, he never had children.
But also, it could just be really big fans of Office Space. Like, just
there you go.
Really big fans. Milton is pissed because he never got a stapler back.
And this time it's personal. Like,
this time it's personal. Office Space too. Victoria, how much do you think, or how much is I don't really. Sorry, I care what you think, but I don't. I'm not asking you how much. What has the news suggested this hurricane will cost Disney?
Dang, I thought you were gonna price this right for the people at home. But
take the low.
So, according to Goldman Sachs, which I had no idea they did this, they released a report on Tuesday that stated that because of Hurricane Milton, that the closures and disruptions and blah, 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 all this to say, world's smallest violin, Disney is projected to lose between 150 to 200 million because of the closures compared to Irma, which, by the way, I worked at Disney at the time. That was annoying. They lost 100 million. So it's only for this quarter. It's not for the whole year, but it's just like they just literally raised Lightning Lane at Disneyland. Like, they're going to make that up just off of that alone. They'll be fine. So,
thank God, because I'm glad this is happening because they don't have to come out and be like, now we're going to have this new special effect on this thing, and they're going to use that as the way to like push the quarter and just oomph the stock, right? Something dumb. We all are like, what do you even? Here's concept art for a thing we're blue skying that we talk about for 2 weeks, and then they'd be like, oh, the quarter's done and stock's fine, so bye. Now they can just go, it was a hurricane, and then it's fine. They don't have to waste all our time with their bullshit. But, at the same time, there is the concern for cast members and the fact that, I mean, they're by the time you've listened to this, they're already back. They are coming back, I believe, tomorrow, which will be the 11th.
Yeah.
So that would be, 2 days that they were fully off?
About a day and a half, I would say.
Day and a half. Yeah, there's a lot of prep, I think, in the background, too, and a lot of that sort of stuff. So hopefully there'll be some OT for our cast members. This kind of connects to something that I wanted to talk about in general terms, too, which is I am coming to a point where between hurricanes and heat, Dave, are your Abu Dhabi skills going to be necessary in Florida when it comes to how they reshape these parks for indoor only at some point? Because I just have a feeling that Florida in 50 years is going to look a heck of a lot different than Florida now, or at least be in its accessibility. What say you all when it comes to climate change and Florida theme parks?
I think rain and hurricanes are more of a problem than the heat. That would be my assumption. I'm no meteorologist, but like even if it gets hotter, it's going to be a humidity hot. I mean, there were days in Abu Dhabi where it was 130 degrees out. So as Sarah can attest to, that place is brutal. But it's a place that's literally built to be indoors 24/7. Like it's really nice in like January, February on the beaches, and you eat outside, and it's lovely, but it's gorgeous. But it's like between April and September, it is brutal.
October 2?
October 2. It is.
It's only
bad.
good for 2 months of the year.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
it literally
it's horrific.
is like December, January is fine.
Right.
But it's different. It's different when it's dry and I don't know. A part of me just thinks like these kind of events like this hurricane are a bigger issue.
Yeah, there's certainly I think they're a larger price point, like immediately. We can go, well, there goes 200 million or whatever, opposed to when you have heat and it's just a gradual dip in who shows up and for how long. I mean, they don't care. They would love if people would pay full price, go for half a day, be too exhausted, and go back to the hotel. Like that's great.
Yeah,
they don't. The money's spent. I guess unless they wanted people to buy dinner and stuff. But I mean, I think I agree in the sense that I think before we see like huge shifts, we will see the parks open at 11 and close at midnight instead to make that kind of adjustment, I think. But
I mean, the Abu Dhabi parks are like that. Like it's a nighttime culture anyway,
Right.
especially when you look at festivals and Ramadan and all that kind of thing. So the parks lean into that and are usually open later, even though they're indoors. It's still hot. I mean, that's the thing. It is a desert heat even at night. Like it's not California
You'll
desert
be
where it's
sweating,
cool.
literally drenched in sweat in the middle of the night.
Wow.
Like
Middle
that's
of the
how
night it'll
it
be
is.
95, 100 degrees and 130 during the day. Like it's
Right.
nuts.
well,
So,
it is a desert.
Yeah.
I mean,
Fair. This is fair.
That is true. But
Yeah.
I do wonder if Disney is they have to be having these kinds of conversations internally where they're like, what are we going to do in terms of changing up our parks in the future? Because like climate change is here and it's going to stay and there's no reversing it at this point. There is we're stuck. So it's going to get hotter and hotter. So I hope that there are more internal conversations where they aren't just like saying, oh, we'll just have the people come in for half a day. But like, let's maybe try something else. Let's be a bit more proactive, I hope. So we'll see.
Maybe add some more shade. I don't know.
the easy
real.
stuff.
Imagine that.
Just a little
Hey, whatever.
shade.
Whatever keeps Carousel of Progress around makes me happy.
I know.
So,
Let me tell
It's,
you, underrated
yeah.
when it comes to escaping the heat. It really is.
truly. I mean, the only other great AC option. I mean, there's a lot of AC options there, but if you want like a long time, it's
But
that
it gets
or
musty
it's
in there.
Carousel of Progress?
really.
No, in the hot summer it gets musty.
What in the Carousel of Progress?
Hey, Carousel of Progress?
Wait a minute,
Are you
girl. You can't.
What?
Are you apples to apples
Wait.
in Disneyland's Carousel of Progress and our Carousel of Progress?
Am I tripping? Do I think I know what the Carousel of Progress is, or am I wrong? It's like where you sit down and you're watching the Carousel of Progress, right? With a bunch of people in a theater.
Rotates? And it
Yes.
rotates.
Yes. Yes. People are musty.
I don't remember the mustiness.
I don't remember the
I remember the
mustiness.
mustiness.
Okay.
In the I don't know. But I don't know. I feel like people are musty everywhere. People don't shower.
I mean,
I don't
people
know.
are musty.
any-
Let's be clear. This is true.
Any indoor attraction in Orlando that has
Exactly.
carpeting is musty. It just always is.
Yeah.
I would say American Adventure and Hall of Presidents are not musty because it's massive rooms.
Fair.
Carousel is very small.
Are you sure you're
Tiki
not thinking
is
of Great
small.
Moments with Mr. Lincoln?
I'm gonna be honest. I've never been to Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. He creeps
Well,
me
then
out.
it's not that.
Just
So-
great musties with Mr. Lincoln, you know.
But
That's all
nothing
that show
beats
is.
the submarine, the Finding Nemo submarine.
Oh,
nothing
yeah,
beats
Lord.
that.
God.
So let's just keep it there. That's
no.
musty. You can't breathe. But
No,
y'all had
no,
me.
we're not doing that.
I was literally second guessing myself. I was like, have I been to the Carousel of Progress or am I tripping?
We're just,
Like, am
we're
I
just
a true
gaslighting
Disney
you for
fan?
fun.
I really was gaslit right now. Okay.
Just a little gaslighting, you know. Just a little
Gaslight
gaslighting
girl,
between
boss
friends.
gate Yeah.
But don't. Hey, $200 or $200. Haha, $200 million. Not a big deal. Disney's going to make it up with PB&J, are they not? Victoria,
Yeah, we know about
tell
that
me about them PB&Js that we got available during a not global, but national emergency.
So, don't worry, Disney. If you were staying basically on Disney property, on one of the Disney resorts, and you were just SOL for food, don't you worry because they had them PB&J kits on deck. So, for 10 of your American dollars on top of everything else you've already spent, you get a loaf of bread, a full jar of peanut butter, and a full jar of jelly. And there you have it. And I do believe they were selling board games too for like $10. So
they were selling board games.
They were selling board games.
To people.
I am offended for them. I'm offended on their behalf.
It's crazy because I saw this. Okay. Sorry, go ahead, Nathan.
No, I'm just gonna say it's. I'm doing the price on Target right now, and creamy peanut butter is $2.
Okay.
Grape jelly is $2.19. So we're looking at $4.20.
Wait, let me see if I can look up the brand. Let me get specific.
Well, let's not play because at the 99-cent store they have all of these ingredients for probably $3.50 in total if you're including tax.
Right. So I'm just going up a little bit.
So Nathan, it's Jiffy peanut butter, Smucker's strawberry jelly. I don't see the brand on the loaf, but it looks like white bread.
Do we have an idea?
What is it? Artisan.
Do we have an idea of size? Is it full? Is it a full?
It's a full
jar,
loaf.
Or
it's their full jars, full jars, and full loaf of bread.
Full jars. Target is being very unsure. Let's do that again. Can I get the jelly?
The jelly is Smucker's strawberry.
Smucker's, just traditional jelly.
Yep. I'm zooming in on that bad boy. I'm using my FBI.
Okay,
skills.
we're looking at we're looking at. Oh gosh,
it's definitely Smucker's though, because I recognize the top.
$3.30. We'll say $3.30.
Okay.
That's what
$3.30 for a jam.
$3.30 for jam. And then the peanut butter is what?
Jiffy.
Jiffy. My algorithm is going to be going like for the next like week and a half. It's going to be like, are you interested in peanut butter and jelly?
Here's a 50-cent coupon.
So $3.30, and then Jiffy or Jif?
Jif.
Jif is $3.40, so that's $6.90.
Damn, the inflation.
The inflation is crazy, and there's no brand on the bread. And then
no bread. So bread.
It's just it's definitely white bread though.
Yeah, we'll do traditional. I'm gonna guess it's not like a. I'm gonna say it's not a grocery brand. My guess it's whatever they had. So like a Sara Lee or a Wonder.
It looks like Sara Lee to me.
So we're looking at 3. We're looking at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know what? This is going to cost them. They might be at a loss, but they're not because we know they bought this stuff in quantity. We know they did.
They bought it in quantity, and they bought it at wholesale pricing. They're not buying it like retail, like everybody else. Exactly. So cut those prices in half at the very most, or at the very least, and that's probably what they paid for it. Because another thing is like they have. You know, or at least back when I was there, Victoria, correct me if I'm wrong, but they had Cast Connection where they would sell stuff like this back to cast members at
Cast Connection is still a thing.
Rate.
Yep.
Okay, but I don't know if they still sell food. If it's
no, they do.
You know,
they do.
Okay, so the amount that they were selling it for at Cast Connection had to at the very least been at cost. So I have to imagine that they're not paying what we pay going to the grocery store.
Well, I'm excited to pay $150 for this when it comes up on eBay.
Yeah, right.
The official Disney Hurricane PB&J kit.
It's ridiculous. I mean, what was so crazy to me was seeing that it was posted like it was a positive thing. Like people were actually like, "Oh my gosh, like this is so cool!" Like, could we be so serious? Like Disney could have given this for free. Like, I mean, this is not a good thing.
For that price, I mean, not that everybody's going to be running around doing this during the hurricane, but you could literally what do you call it, Instacart it, and it'll be more for about the same amount of money.
Yeah. Right. Here's the thing.
If there's some delivery person out there willing to drive around, you could probably have gotten it.
Right. All these people that were going to buy this were resort guests.
Yeah. Right.
So my thing is not only should they have not had to pay at all because they're resort guests, but you have food that you have to use. Just buffet. Just open your buffets.
Well, the thing is, I know for a fact they deeply discounted the buffets because when I did Hurricane Irma, we did what is that one buffet at Wilderness? It was a restaurant at Wilderness Lodge. They made it into a buffet and they discounted it to like $15 a person.
But why is it even a thing? Like, this is such an easy PR stunt for them, honestly. Like, Disney's offering free food.
I know.
Like, I literally had to get a hotel for, like, my clients for Hurricane Helene or whatever it was called. First off, that one night stay was ridiculous. And then they were like, yeah, they still wanted to make us pay for food. And we're like, they just dropped almost $1,500 for one night stay. Yeah, well, what happened was it was already sold out, and they were like, we don't care what opens up. The first thing you see, buy it. And guess what the fuck it was? The Polynesian Bungalows. So...
Damn.
Oh.
So they stayed
I don't know if I want a Polynesian bungalow during a hurricane. Bungalow. I said bungalow. I don't know.
Bungalow.
They okay,
okay.
Yeah, because they can afford a bungalow. They're okay, all right. Good for them. You know what else, Disney? I guess Disney's going to have to be paying some more, I think, too, because we're going to move on. Sarah, how much do people want from Disney? Thanks to a class action lawsuit.
They want a lot of money. I don't know exactly how much they want, but let me just quickly tell you about this whole situation. So Disney is facing a class action lawsuit over an employee data breach. So this happened back in July, and it was by a hacktivist group called Null Bulge that stole 1.1 terabytes of data from Disney Slack channels. So, which is crazy. Terabytes.
Hey, can we stop for a second and just mention that if you want to be a hacktivist group, can you do better? Can you have a better name?
Can you? But not even just that. Can we hack something that's of value? Hack them student loans, bitch. Hack my student loans. Take that.
Yeah.
Right, do something about that. Okay.
Joe can't get it done. I need no bulge to get rid of my student loans.
Literally, please
be the
get
true
rid of the
American
student
heroes.
loans, the debt. Literally, let's use our powers for good, people. I don't even know what the hell you got out of them Slack channels, because it's literally just gossiping and talking about the bitch manager Karen. There's not even up value. So what is going on? Anyways,
can I say though that if I came across this 1.2 terabytes, I'd probably read all of it.
I would too. It's probably
I don't want to go to jail, so I won't. But
actually, wait. Let me not talk shit about this group because they might hack me next. Please don't hack me. I don't have.
Sarah, what you got?
Guys.
Sarah, what sites you been visiting? What you got?
I don't know.
What's going on?
I don't know. People are crazy. Anyways, so
hey, No Budge, thanks for listening. We appreciate it.
Love you guys.
Love you guys.
Anyways, so this breach exposed some pretty sensitive information, including Disney Cruise Line employee details and internal communications, which has obviously gone through Slack. This specific group targeted Disney over concerns related to artist contracts and AI usage. So that's why they went after Disney. But yeah, so they're alleging negligence and breach of contract, demanding better security and damages.
I get it.
What were you saying, Victoria?
No, I was saying, but so they wanted to go after Disney, but they went after the employees' information who ain't do shit?
I think it all went together. Like, it's all one big pile. So.
I think it was just, this was what was taken in that, because the Slack channel, hacking Slack I don't think would be very difficult. Like, it just seems like, and all of the Disney company uses Slack. Like, you can find every channel in there pretty easily. So it's not difficult to get all that information, and maybe they thought there would be like pretty sensitive things in there too. So
now we know why the hacktivists want to get into Sarah's accounts.
Oh wait a minute,
she's all linked up. She knows all about.
I don't have nothing.
She's all linked up.
Hack my bank account. Put some extra zeros in there.
Put some zeros in there.
Put some extra zeros.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with it. Sure. I don't necessarily believe it's Disney's fault, but this is what class action lawsuits are for as well. It's Slack's fault, in my opinion.
Yeah, I feel like it's more so. It's a little bit of Disney, but it's a little bit of Slack too. Like,
but I think when it comes, and I hate defending Disney, but it's difficult to protect against these hacktivist groups because they're always going to be one step ahead. Like, cybersecurity is literally fixing the problem of previous hacks. They're not fixing. They're not being proactive when it comes to the hackers, because they're just smarter, they're faster, they're better, they're not having to work under specific guidelines and rules like Disney is. So
yeah,
I'm gonna have to give them that one.
You're just trying to suck up so you don't get hit.
No, I feel like they're gonna hit me.
No, it's all good. All right, let's talk about this next piece. This might be an interesting conversation because I'm kind of mixed. Sarah, what happened at Disneyland recently?
So Disneyland.
Oh, sorry, I skipped one. We'll get to the other one in a minute.
We're talking about Disneyland ticket prices.
Yeah, this is not the one I want. The one that's controversial. But this one is not controversial because everyone's upset by this. Let's start there. Let's start there. Sorry.
Let's start there.
Disneyland
so
tickets.
Disneyland ticket prices have increased, including a $200 one park ticket, and their lightning lanes have become more expensive, as well as Magic Key sales have gone up almost 20%, which is absolutely fucking crazy. So Disneyland raised their ticket prices by 6%, with the most expensive one being $206 for their tier 6, which it's breaking the $200 threshold for one day. Unbelievable, right? The Magic Key passes, which is our annual pass over here on the West Coast, the Inspire Key went up from $1,649 to $1,749, which is a 6% increase. The Believe Key went up 10%. The Enchant went up 14.7%, and the worst of them all is the Imagine Key, which went up $100 at a 20% increase. Absolutely insane. The lightning lanes also went up from $30 to $32. Crazy, because I remember last year they were $20. I don't know how we can keep raising these prices if the quality is not there.
Avengers Campus ain't paying for itself.
I don't think I'm gonna be. I'm gonna be with Dave on this one. I'm not renewing next year.
I didn't either. This is the first time. I mean, I've had an annual pass or Magic Key, what have you, for the California properties since the early '90s. Like, I think I had my first one in like '89 or '90.
Oh, wow.
And the only time I didn't have one was when I lived in Orlando for 2-3 years working for Universal, and even then I had the Two Coast one. Right. So technically I did. This is the first time where I looked at it and went, you know what? I cannot make this make sense financially anymore. Right. Because I did the math in my head. When you add parking every time now, because it's not free, you add, like, I go a lot with friends who haven't been, so I kind of have to buy Lightning Lane with them every time just to make sure we see what they want to see. Mm-hmm. You add all that together, plus the fact that I can't just drop in whatever I want, and it ends up being like, I got to go like between 9 and 12 times for it to break even at least once a month. And it's like, that was easy if I could drop in and go for 2 hours, and now I can't do that. Right. And every time I try to do that, especially in the summer, it's just not possible. And I'm not going to pay for parking for a 2-hour visit. And so it just gets to the point where it's like, there's not a return on my investment for this, where I take advantage of it as much as I can, because it's just a hassle. It used to be back in the day, an old annual pass, I'd have to go between 6 and 8 times. That's decent. I can do that. I can make that happen. But 9 to 12, it's just like, I get it. There are people that live nearby that go more, who go, it's still worth it. If I can't just drop in, if they got rid of the reservation system, I'd consider it maybe. Like, I was almost going to consider doing it if they dropped reservations, and they didn't. So, and that's not going to go anywhere.
I totally agree with you. I mean, I live an exit away from Disneyland. So, and it's so difficult for me to even get in. Like, I remember 2 weeks ago, I really wanted to take my nephew and take him there. And I had to keep stalking the reservations page and like refreshing. It's become so anxiety inducing just to try to go to the parks that it's just not worth it anymore. It used to be a happy place. It used to be a place where you can pop in, which sounds crazy to a not annual pass holder. I can pop in for lunch. Like, you know what I mean? It used to be that kind of vibe. But it's just become so incredibly expensive that it just doesn't seem worth it anymore. And if you want to bring your friends or family with you, $200 for a one park
not even
is
a park
insane.
Hopper.
Not even park hopper.
Not even
like,
a hopper, yeah.
No,
well,
and park hopper this summer went up to like $250.
Too.
Sorry?
I was saying, on top of that, don't you guys get penalized if you don't show up?
Yeah, we have 3 no-shows.
You got 3 strikes and you can't do it for like a month or so.
Yeah, for about a month you can't go in. It's
crazy. They don't do that here. They don't do this for Disney World.
It's crazy.
And so you get people, especially in the lower tiers, who book up whether or not they're going to come. So it keeps the reservation system booked up, and then they cancel before midnight the night before. And so it just becomes this. It's not just that it's too expensive for me money-wise; it's too expensive time-wise.
Right.
Like,
effort-wise.
If I go, I have to go all day, and it's like that's not why I get an annual pass.
Yeah, what's your time worth, right, Dave?
Right. And my time is not worth for that kind of commitment. If I'm going to go for a opening to close day, I'm just going to buy a day ticket and go like 3 or 4 times a year. It's still cheaper at that point.
For that kind of commitment, just go to Tokyo Disney.
Literally.
No, honestly.
It's not that far.
Right.
I mean, theoretically.
So ridiculous. I could go 4 times for the price of a 1-park ticket here. Like, that's how ridiculous it is.
There's a flight, but
I mean,
still.
that's the most expensive thing. I'd rather pay the flight and do that. What was it like? Less than it was $300 for a ticket for me.
The one way from here is like $400.
The flip side for me is now I'm going to be able to I won't feel so bad if I want to go to Pride Night, for instance, right?
Right.
Because I feel fine that'll be one of my trips every year, right? Like I'm going in December with my niece and nephew, and I haven't been with them together since for probably 8-10 years.
Sure.
And they're all adults now and they're flying back into town. Yeah, it's like our first Christmas together. It's kind of amazing.
That's awesome.
And so absolutely worth going all day and worth paying the price because that's going to be awesome, right? But I don't need to do that 9 times in a year because it used to be I would go for Jason and I would look at each other and go, let's drive down to the park and go have dinner and ride a couple rides and come home. And there was one year with Magic Cube where we both had it. And we tried that, and every time we couldn't get a reservation last minute. It was just not possible.
Yeah. I mean, that's truly, like, from an AP perspective on the East Coast, that was truly the best part, was the quick pop-ins. And we lived an hour, depending on traffic, an hour to an hour and a half away, and it still was like,
right.
I'll pop in. Like, fine. You know, let's do that for a Sunday morning or something and get brunch and go home. So... yeah, they're wildin' over there. They're crazy.
It is. They are wild, and it's crazy, and it feels like disrespectful. If I'm being quite honest, it's like, why am I paying so much money?
But what's crazy is there will be somebody that pays it.
Well, I think the Disney company, and I'm putting the words in their mouth. I think they see Disneyland as a rich people's place, and I think they see Disney World as for the commoner. And I mean that in the sense that California is pretty stock full of people that can pay that price, and they're not worried about it. And you know, it's.
But it's like, pay the price, but you can't even go. I think that's the problem.
Yeah, that's a good point. It doesn't even matter. Yeah.
I want commoner prices.
So.
Yeah. All right, let's talk about the controversial thing. Zara, what's happened at Disneyland?
Oh boy. So over at Disneyland on October 4th, 3 days before the anniversary of October 7th, there was a pro-Palestine protest in front of the Disneyland Sleeping Beauty Castle. They held up a large banner that called attention to the amount of people that have passed in Palestine, equating that to the number of people that visit Disneyland in one day. It was extremely powerful. However, it was very brief. Disneyland security rounded them up real quick and got them to roll up the banner and got them to leave peacefully. It was a peaceful protest. It just, they just, you know, there are no protests at Disneyland, so they just got kicked out.
But you know, they got their point across. It got on social media.
Definitely.
They rolled it up, left peacefully. Like that was a.
It was a good protest.
10 out of 10.
It made the impact. It did its impact. So
yeah.
All right, Nathan.
It's much easier to give people a pass when you completely agree with them.
Thank you.
And
I agree.
I 100% side with them.
Right.
But I don't. As much as I think there is this, maybe it's true, this desire that awareness matters, right? We got to make people aware of a thing, and they're not going to be aware. But there's two things that I sort of land on. One, I don't think anyone that saw them was happy about it. And again, you might say that's the point, right? Okay, that can be the point, but that's not going to change. You are sinking them into their mud, not bringing them out of it. So again, if the purpose of the protest is to bring awareness, I think they successfully accomplished their goal. Okay, I'm not suggesting that, but if their purpose is to start swaying people with numbers, I mean, maybe from a social media perspective that changes things, right? If you did this before social media, it would totally not work at all because you're going to get 100 people that pass by in the span of 2 minutes or whatever.
Right.
Sure. My other thing is completely separate from them. It deals with all of them. I find amusement parks, theme parks, museums, art galleries to be sacred places. And I do not believe that anyone should feel, hey, I'm going to inconvenience you, especially because you've paid to be to this place, with reality. We literally go to these places so we don't have to deal with reality. I have no issue with this being outside the park. I have no issue with it happening on the street. From a internal perspective, I just think that it's a hard world out there. And if someone is going to a park, they're attempting to enjoy something with their family for 5 minutes. And whether I 100% agree with the point they're making, which I do, it's a genocide in my opinion, for real.
Right.
At the same time, I go, man, who are you going to convince here? Like who? Like the issue is, and it's a social media factor, which is we need that dissonance. We need Cinderella's castle with grim facts, right? That's the dissonance. That's the image. That's how it sells, right? And people did that with Vote for Trump on Splash Mountain. People did that for Bitcoin recently. If you remember, they tried to shell Bitcoin that way. And I think that we do that because we see it as there's the distance between this place and this landmark, and isn't that interesting? I'm not sure if it's interesting anymore, right? I'm not sure if you're really wowing anybody. You're like the 100th person possibly to do a protest in front of a castle to make a point on social media.
I think
I don't know.
Hold on. So I see this as still living in Florida, and I think this is why I feel kind of strongly. I agree with you completely, Nathan. While I do agree with the point, the method is what I kind of have a bad taste for. And the reason is because here in Florida, we have an issue with protesters on the conservative political spectrum showing up at Disney Springs, showing up in front of Disney Springs, in
literal
front of
Nazi
Walt Disney
flags.
World. Right. And so that is why I am so conflicted, because if I don't want them doing that in the park, or them doing that, or I'm bringing my children on any theme park property, then I can't, as a, it is essentially me speaking out of both sides of my mouth. Like I can't say, yeah, good for them because I agree with them. I have to say, hey, let's not do this no matter what, because I don't want opinions I don't agree with, like the Nazi flags and things like that, being in places where my children are. So I have to kind of have a very hard and fast line that there's really no, gray area if you want everybody to be on the same page. It can't just be what you support and not what other people support.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I also think what you said, Nathan, about if it had been maybe outside the park or right on Catella or something, they probably would have been there longer, right? They would have been able to stay there for a longer time.
And there have been protests like that outside. There have been specifically for Palestine. Yeah,
I think it's. Go ahead, Sarah.
No. Go ahead, Dave.
I was going to say it's just I'm a little dualistic about it, because it's like, well, then where is a good place to do it? Do you know what I mean? It's one of those things where it's like it's a message.
There's no
that
good
unfortunately
answer.
There's no good answer, right?
Well, the concept of such a protest is to do that. Like, it's the very definition of the thing, right? Like, I fully recognize that, like, they succeeded at their goal. Like, I honestly don't have an issue with it in the same way that I have issues with, like, environmentalists throwing paint on the Mona Lisa and being like, well, the world's burning. It's like, look, you just pissed a bunch of people off. It's pointless.
Right. And that's one of those things where it's like, no, and that's just an example. Well, that was so infuriating, because it's like, look, two things can be true. The oil companies are shit, and art is sacred. And why the hell would you do that? Like, both those things can be true. There's one is Mona Lisa, and the fucking museum is not driving the oil business. That's just it's this weird dissonance there that they did it just for shock value, and that pisses me off for sure.
Like, go to a museum and like throw paint on the sign that says "This wing donated by the Coke industry." Like if you want to do that,
Fair point.
fine.
Yeah.
But don't chuck it at the art. Like the artist isn't like the oil company. But like that, I want to make it clear. Like I don't find what they did at all like that. I don't.
No.
They weren't. It doesn't feel like they were seeking attention. It's a clear message. They didn't fight it, right? They have every right to be angry, and I don't have an issue with that. I just want some places to be off limits. Like the world is so full. Like the internet is so full, and like your brain is like so indicted. I feel indicted. It's so full. Sorry, 4:30 in the morning calling right now. It just ingests so much outrage, just in general life, that having a place where you can go, and that's why we see, like, we'll talk about a couple today. You know, people get pissed weirdly at Disney, or they throw a fit. We go, come on, like this is. And those people are, for me, way worse than even these people. But it's just like, I just want a couple. Can't my privilege allow me to have one place, please? Like,
well, and
that's the word. That's the word.
I mean, I get it. I live in a place where I'm inundated with protests, of opposing beliefs that I personally hold because of Florida being such a conservative state now, where Orlando itself is not quite like that. But I'm just saying, like, it's very difficult to, like you were saying, Dave, like, okay, well then where is the right place? I don't have a good answer. Like, I don't have a good answer for you, because I don't know that there's ever going to be a right answer.
Well, and we live in a world where public space is shrinking, right? Everything can be called private property. Everything. Right. Even like public parks, even freeway overpasses, right? Yes. Like it's that ability to protest and have it be legal is right, especially under previous administrations, and if they return, even worse, public space to do that is going to be gone. I mean, college campuses are not like that's not a sacred space anymore.
That's crazy.
And that used to be a sacred place where those kind of discussions can be had, and now they've been politicized because of money. It's
right. I do. Okay, so as someone that has grown up their entire life knowing about the Palestinian genocide and been in that part of the world, and like kind of understands that whole thing, I have a very hard time with these kinds of protests, especially now we're a year into this genocide. The people that care. The people that want to know, they know. These kinds of protests ultimately don't do much anymore, especially because it's not even that it's putting people in their positions even further. It's more so just people don't care. Like they really, if they didn't care before, they're not going to care now, and they're not going to care in the future. These types of protests are in essence almost performative for me. I don't see them having any value, especially now. And while I do think that it was powerful in showing that it has been a year after this has happened, and this number has grown in that time, and it's this amount of people that are going in, I don't see it as being effective, especially in the setting that it's in. In terms of sacred,
these guys bought tickets. Like that's money that could have went to Gaza. Like, let's be clear.
Absolutely. I think as someone who I don't necessarily believe in sacred spaces. I think there are sacred things, but I don't think that there are sacred spaces that are free from these types of protests and feelings. Like, I'm gonna be angry all the time, to be quite honest. That's just the feeling that I feel. I don't go to Disneyland and feel peace. It's like, especially
Sarah's the Bruce Banner of our generation.
I mean, like, I'm going into Disneyland and I'm seeing a guy with a Trump shirt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not going to stop at the door. Like, I hate
that. I totally understand.
You get what I mean? So it's like, I don't think that like Disneyland's not that space anymore. So and it sucks, but that's just the reality of it. And I don't think there is a safe space outside of your home anymore. Like you're going to be out.
Determine that. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's unfortunate.
Remember a couple months ago, I was wearing, my pride pins and I had a guy literally eye contact with me and do this and like threaten me in
That's
Disneyland.
Terrifying.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, like don't worry.
I remember that.
No, worse. I smiled at him and blew him a kiss and was like, "I dare you." No, really. I was like, "I dare you." I literally looked at him and went, "I dare you. I dare you. Please bring it. I know where security is. Go for it.
Yeah.
I have 911 on my phone right now. Bring it."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Literally come get your ass beat and then get
What's
called
worse? What's worse is he was like egging on his like teenage son to do it too. It was disgusting.
Oh,
that's
terrible.
Whatever.
Yeah.
That guy can go to hell.
Yeah. I think
Fuck
politics and honestly, fuck that guy. But politics and all of these things are
please don't.
That's what he wants.
Honestly, don't fuck that guy. Honestly,
don't fuck that guy. Let him get fucked in prison in a shower. Let that happen.
Dave, I would normally say that's homophobic, but you said it, so I don't know what to think.
No. He deserves it. He deserves for a very large, burly gay man to have his way with him. That's what he deserves.
I think it would be good cultural.
Come for me, people. If you think I'm wrong, write me some hate mail, please.
That is an amazing soundbite, and I feel like we need to call attention to that right now.
There you go.
Yeah, we're really we're really hot. We're really hot on this one.
We are political. But yeah, like I was saying, I think politics and the theme parks, it's been intertwined. It's not a safe space anymore. It is what it is. And ultimately, we are praying for Gaza. We are praying for Palestine. Yeah. We're praying for everybody that is currently going through a genocide and is being oppressed. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I think that's that.
Did you think were there? I literally should just do some research on this. Were there people who protested the Vietnam War at Disneyland? Like, is there a whole?
There has to have been.
There has to have been.
The hippies. It wasn't the hippies that took over Tom Sawyer's Island. I believe.
That's right.
Was a protest for the Vietnam War. Yeah. So it's happened before.
It's never been a sacred space.
Remember
it's never
Guantanamo?
been a sacred space.
The guy that set up the Guantanamo orange jumpsuit outfit just outside Big Thunder Mountain. Yeah, like it's happened.
Yeah.
That's why they're getting rid of it.
That's why I think the comments are funny. Like, because when I saw that video, people were just commenting like, "Why can't we just have this? Like, people, why do you have to do this here? And this sucks. And you're awful. And whatever." I'm like, this has been going on forever. Disneyland is just, and Disney is just that place, like you said, that offers that cognitive, like that dissonance. Like, it really, it's the perfect canvas, if we're being honest. So,
I kind of wish that I could just have like a sticker that said, "I know." Like, I don't like.
Yeah,
I think it's like I don't need to hear about it. Like, I'm good, and that's for any sort of protest that I agree with. Like, just that idea of like I just vibes and outrage, and I can just be like, I'm good, I got it, I know, I'm on your side, it's cool, like, and maybe that would, I don't know, make me happier. Probably not, but I just again,
these are not happy times. These are not happy times.
But there's never been happy times. There's never
been.
November.
No,
we'll see.
Girl,
come on, don't. I can't think too hard about
not
this.
Right now.
I can't.
No.
Not right now.
Things are looking good, but I'm not going to talk about it anymore. Okay, I can't. I'm not allowed that. Okay.
Let's just hope and pray. Hope and pray for everybody. Okay. Let's hope for peace.
Anyway, we're gonna move on.
Wait. I'm gonna go off camera for like 2 minutes, but I'm here.
Okay. Bye.
Okay.
Bye. So Sarah's left. She's so mad. She's got to collect herself.
She hates us.
Oh my god. She's like, fuck that Nathan Hartman, that white man telling us what to do about Palestine. Okay. She's right though. I fully recognize like. Fuck me and my privilege, so it's fine. Dave, something completely different. And now for something completely different.
Not really, though. Not really.
But not really, though.
Not
but
really.
kind of, but not. Universal Studios has figured out a way to make the police state. Would you please explain the technology that they've used?
Well, that's not a technology. What they're saying is, they're patenting technology to detect line jumping and other disruptive guest behaviors. They're basically saying that they filed a patent for multiple technologies of sensors around a theme park that can use machine learning to detect unruly guests and track rule breakers with the aim of improving the guest experience for others. It could be motion, temperature, sound, smoke, liquid, and more to detect inebriated guests or people jumping through lines or getting out of a moving ride vehicle or smoking in non-smoking areas. So yeah, it's a police state is what they're doing.
This really works well. This really works well until the article comes out that says Universal arrests man with cerebral palsy because AI said that they were drunk.
The thing is, I don't think, well, first of all, if you think you have any free rights going into a ticketed space, you're full of yourself because
and if you think there's an angle they can't see you there, period, you're crazy.
You're crazy. And it can be a police state. And by the way, it always has been. Like let's not get it twisted. This is just adding a layer of predictive technology and observing technology that will then alert people faster. That's all this is. It's like, you know, the evolution of, you know, your key to the world card used to be able to, they would track your charges in your credit card, and it would take weeks for them to get data about how much you spent on your vacation. Now that happens in seconds because of Magic Band. It's the same thing. They've always tracked you in these spaces financially. They've tracked where you go. They're allowed to. If you read the ticket, baby, read the ticket. And you've given your rights away.
It's their house. I don't necessarily like. They're not coming to my house and doing it, so I don't hate it. But I also just think like, should we hire more security? No, let's let AI take care of it. It's such a normal bullshit thing to do nowadays.
I know. It's so, who knows? I don't know. I don't know what to think of it. I'm not gonna. I think what this is saying that the kind of sensors that they use. First of all, a lot of this they already do in rides. There are infrared beams. There are pressure pads so you don't get out. There's cameras watching you. I think all they're doing is that kind of behavior, especially in rides. They are adding a layer of alert system so that the turning point for dealing with that is not necessarily on the shoulders of a part-time, 16-year-old ride-up employee. Not that those are bad employees and they're very well trained. This, I think, can add a layer of somewhat efficiency to a walled garden like a ride. How it works out in the parks, as far as like listening to dialogue and things, line cutting, maybe. I don't know.
How do you know? How do you determine
that? Is
really
that bad of a problem?
Yes.
Like, that's my question. Is it that bad?
It is. It is.
Absolutely
it is. Yeah.
Oh.
It is. I don't have an opinion about this because I think this is one of those theoretical things where their technology development department said, "What if? Could we do this? Let's."
It's an R&D thing.
It's an R&D thing. This may never see the light of day in anything more than sensing people in rides and reach envelopes and getting out of vehicles. It may never be more than that.
I am very curious what vaping has done, to make this necessary. I think that there's so much vaping on rides now that I bet the Haunted Mansion, people are just ripping mad
It smells like strawberries in there, mint, all kinds of things. I'm like,
I'm kind of joking, but not.
No, I saw someone do it in Fantasyland. No bullshit.
Yeah. It makes me want to snitch. I'm not a snitch, but this is one of those times where I'm like, security, check her purse. I want to know who it is. Security, come get them
over here.
Come get them.
I have a better idea. I think that we need to make vaping very cool in theme parks, and Disney needs to have Fantasyland. Cool. All right. Have a little area, kind of the old smoking area, but now it's only for vapes. And we put the caterpillar from Alice in Wonderland in there, and it's just it's just a sesh, bro. We're just ripping Mad Cloud with the caterpillar and just having a good old time.
My favorite is when people are in the parking structure and they've been sent back by security, and they're just taking the big inhales and getting fucked up right before they go in. It's bad.
I had a friend they checked his backpack at security and he forgot that he had mushroom chocolates in his bag. So that's not sent back to your car, by the way. That's you're getting arrested.
Is that not a felony?
Oh, yeah.
Anaheim PD.
They're not legal in California yet, not at all. But I mean, they should be, but whatever. That's another discussion. But yeah, he texted me a couple of days after. He's like, "Hey, by the way, this happened, so I can't go to Disneyland anymore for a while."
Oh no,
man!
At least it was just the ban. Like at least it's just that.
He's been trespassed. Yeah.
Oh. I wish he would have just taken them all and just sort of floated his way through the whole day. Just.
Oh, I've done that. I've been in line being, oh shit, I have edibles with me. Hang on.
Gulp, gulp.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
Just fucked up the entire day.
I've been in there on a 50 milligram edible just baked out of my gourd.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
How's that even
That's
fun?
scary.
Hey, it's legal. It's legal. It's
Yeah.
legal.
It is legal, but that's 50.
I was so
50 is crazy.
I was so high. I saw Walt. I touched him. He was there.
Technically, it's not illegal to actually have them in private property like that, so it's a gray area. Yeah. But I can hold my own. I'm a good stoner. I'm just very happy.
Why did Dave go to the park and only watch Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln all day?
Over and over. He's a guy
just
that's
weeping for
here.
the Union. Anyway.
Oh my god.
Speaking of things that sound horrible or scary,
Dang.
Jess is joining us, of course, today.
I am so offended right now.
Not horrible, like sound horrible. I meant like would be scary. Would be scary. I didn't mean horrible, but would be scary. Being massively high at Disney does not sound fun at all to me. Neither does going to any Halloween Horror Nights thing because I's baby. So
good news, Nathan. I've been to a lot of them, a lot of local events.
Oh yes,
theme park events.
Oh yes,
and I do it so you don't have to.
That's why we bring you on, ma'am. Let's begin with Universal. Give us an overall rating, and then let's talk favorites.
Okay, so this is how I'm going to rate it, and this is going to be very telling for anybody who has ever purchased a multi-night ticket for Halloween Horror Nights, or really any event where you purchase the entire run or whatever, and they do that for Florida residents. Normally, I would purchase the Frequent Fear Plus Pass, which is not the highest. It's the one right below. So it includes all Sunday through Fridays, as well as the full first and last weekends. Normally, that's what I would purchase. However, this year I purchased the Rush of Fear, which is pretty much the lowest bulk ticket you can purchase. It's essentially the entire month of September minus the last weekend. So I purchased from August 30th, which was the first day, all the way through September 22nd. I went 8 times, and I had full intention of upgrading my ticket at the end of that to the Ultimate Fear Pass, and I did not. And I didn't because I did everything, but there were very few things where I was like, oh, I need to do this multiple times. So I will say, compared to the last 2 years, it kind of fell a little bit flat, and I know I'm going to get so many people mad at me right now. I will say, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the highest, I would rate it maybe a 7, a 6.5. It was not my favorite. I know. And the thing is like, I still went. I went a ton. I tried every viral food you can think of. I tried the show multiple times. I went through every scare zone more times than I can count, and went through every house.
The homework was done.
The homework was done. I gave it every single chance I possibly could. And I just kind of felt meh. Like, it says that there's, I think 4 or 5 scare zones. There's really only 3. And it's because the Hollywood area scare zone literally blends in with the one right at the front where you enter, where the sisters are, where it has the icons. It's quite literally a scare zone entirely made up of just the sisters. And then there's literally a scare zone right next to it, just of chainsaws, and then the Hollywood street down the way. So it's literally 3 zones in one street, which is odd. Or, I mean, at very least 2. I'm not quite sure how, like, where the line is, because I'm not in park planning or where the sets zones.
Yeah, but
sets are.
also to not be able to tell where the line is suggests.
Well, there was
things,
there was no clear delineation of theme. If that makes any sense. Like last year, Dr. Oddfellow was in that same area, and there was like a whole stage where he was up there, and there were performers from each zone. It was very, very clear that that was a separate zone than Dark Zodiac, which was in Hollywood last year. This, it just kind of felt like the same zone. The Torture Fair, the essentially Ren Fair scare zone, I will have to say is my favorite. I think the theming was just really fun. It was just pure silliness. So you have to go into it knowing that you are going to a cheesy Ren Fair that has turned into a Halloween Horror Nights scare zone. That's literally what it is. The Swamp Scare Zone in the Central Park area was good the first week, but they did have some technical issues with some of the animatronics that were good distractions to set up scares for the performers. After those stopped working, it kind of felt like the performers didn't really have a lot to interact with in that zone. It just kind of felt like normally that zone is very immersive, like it was in like the Doom Jungle area last year. It just kind of felt like it could have been a lot better. And then the Blumhouse Street, they need to redo what they did in year 20 when they had Zombie Gras in that San Francisco area. That was the best scare zone that has ever been in that San Francisco area. Near the exit of Fast and the Furious, if you're unaware.
That's a scary ride.
Agreed. Anyway, but as far as that scare zone is concerned, it's just boring. There's nothing going on. There are literally stages that have characters on them, and then just a bunch of characters from The Purge wandering around, and they're not just one Purge movie. It's kind of all of them, and it just kind of felt like a weird highlight reel that didn't make a whole lot of sense.
So you're saying The Purge needed a little purging,
right? Well, if you're gonna make it, if you're gonna make it The Purge, make it The Purge. Don't also put Megan on a stage. Don't put just don't. Just pick one. If you want to do one that is Black Phone, do Black Phone.
But then how will I know what the IPs are?
Exactly. But so that literally in that 4 minutes I just did that strange rant. I told you about literally every single scare zone, and I promise you don't feel like you missed anything.
Rough.
The Torture Fair was the only one that was worth, in my opinion, the price of admission. I really enjoyed that one. And it was different every time I went through. But the other scare zones really kind of fell flat for me. But I have a feeling you want to ask me about... That seems like the most unique. Yeah, it was the most unique, and it was... It lends itself to being really creative. It's not... Right. It opens itself up to some fun things. And there were a lot. Yeah.
Wenches. Big boob wenches.
There was a plague doctor in there. There was a plague doctor in there. It was great.
I love those. Those
That's
are great.
Cool.
Yeah. But I have a feeling you want to ask me about houses.
Yes.
Sure. Your feeling is correct.
Okay. So the scariest house is not my favorite house, but it is objectively the scariest house, and that is going to be Insidious. It is objectively the most terrifying house. At least here. I don't know about California because I have heard that they're different. It is very long for a Horror Nights house. It's an over 5-minute walk through. for that house, which is long for a Horror Nights house. But when I talk about more local haunts, that looks very mild.
Yeah.
So I just posted a video about a local haunt, and we can talk about that one in a second. But Insidious is objectively the scariest house. It is, the scares are set up very well. You don't often see boo holes very well. And it is
just for those who don't know, the layman out there, that's those areas where they can pop out and see you. They're not the anuses of ghosts.
Yeah, I mean, it could
might
be. Just depends on if you're in a party mood, but
Dang, what's going on? What's happening at HHM? Maybe I want to join. Hold on.
But I would say Insidious is objectively the scariest house. I, however, have a favorite house that is kind of underhyped, and that is Slaughter Cinema 2.
I heard that was good. Yeah, I heard
so
that was
I
good.
think that one is very underhyped. What's great about it is there are different rooms that have different themes. All of them are very funny puns or jokes or plays on words related to actual horror films. And there are parts where you're laughing your ass off because there's mummy strippers in there. And then you're also...
What the hell?
Yeah, there's a mummy strip club. There's a mummy strip club.
There's a mummy strip club with a pole dancer. But then there are sections that are truly like where you can't see the performers before they are on you. So I will say that
I
is,
gotta go look
in
up
my
this
opinion,
mummy
the best
strip
one.
club.
Yes. It is exactly what it sounds like. So that
I'm
one
just imagining a mummy with like her boob kind of like not wrapped. That's what I'm imagining.
It's not so, there's not a lot of nudity, but it is suggestive.
It's very funny.
And there is
I mean,
dancing.
for a mummy, any sort of flesh showing.
Exactly.
Pretty subjective.
I will say another one that kind of was with me was going to be Eternal Bloodlines, which was our Universal Monster House this year.
Was very good.
Couple things I really loved about that. While it was not scary at all, let's just put that out there. It's not scary. However, couple things I really love. Number one, all-female house, which we have not seen in quite a long time. There were some, in my time there, we had a Nightingale's house that was pretty much all female. I've seen it happen before, and they are always very popular houses. But Eternal Bloodlines, one thing I really, really loved is that casting chose to go with women of color when it came to Bride of Frankenstein, which I absolutely love that choice. They were all, I believe they were all Black women, and that's how it came across to me, but they were definitely all women of color. And that was a really nice surprise because that character is often always, cast as a white woman, a very pale white woman, very thin. Right. And they even went with more curvier Black women with the casting. And I really love that direction. I thought that was very unique. I did like the female Van Helsing vibe that was in there. It was just truly like a celebration of like female energy more than just awesome. Like a scary
That's
house.
Awesome.
Feminine rage.
Yes, feminine rage for sure.
Feminine rage, yeah.
The last one I'll comment on my own, and then obviously you guys can ask me questions about this event, is A Quiet Place. Now, I had not seen the films before doing the house, and I did that on purpose. I do that every year.
Okay.
And I do that on purpose. Let me explain why. I want to be able to tell my audience, to tell you guys, can you appreciate the house if you have not seen the film? And can you understand it? Can you follow it? Insidious, you cannot understand or follow it if you have not seen the films. It makes no sense. It is all over the place if you do not know the films. However, A Quiet Place takes portions from movies 1 and 2, and it is very easy to follow, and it is the most unsettling house experience I've ever had. There is no music. There are no sounds from the performers. The only sounds that come from this house at all are the monsters or the things triggering the monsters. So like a baby crying, it'll be dead silent. A baby will scream and cry, and then there's the monster responding to that sound. That is it. There is no music. There is no sound otherwise. The performers are all using American Sign Language as they come out of their boo holes.
It's really cool.
Yeah,
I've seen the walkthrough, and because I'm a baby, y'all know I don't watch nothing horror.
It's okay.
But I love A Quiet Place. Like, I love those movies. Literally cried out all 3 of them. They were that good. But I've watched the walkthrough of this horror house, and it was amazing. Like, it looked so good, and the animatronic that they used for the aliens, it was just like 10 out of 10.
It was very good.
I was so curious about that one because, like, obviously you can hear other people screaming elsewhere in the maze. These things aren't like soundproof, right? Or no? Is it pretty
So here I don't know that they've done any soundproofing, Dave, but one thing I noticed about myself, now Victoria can attest to this, I'm not a screamer when it comes to houses. I will say things like, oh, that's really cool, you know?
I'm the one that's usually screaming, unfortunately.
I have references.
She says.
No, literally, I have references.
She does do that. She does that. She's like, wow, and I'm just like,
it's so boring. I'm so boring to go through a house with. Like, I'm not a fun scare. But no. So one thing I found as I was going through this house, and I was with other people, all of us were dead silent because of the energy in there. So I don't really think there's a lot of organic screams happening because the energy in there makes you feel like you need to be quiet. Like the atmosphere is affecting you. You're a part of it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. I can't wait. I'm not going to Hollywood for another couple of weeks. I'm going like after Halloween. I'm going like November 2nd. But I've heard nothing but great things about that maze. In my brain, I'm like, how do you do that IP as a... Anyway, I am exactly the opposite, by the way. I am such an easy jump scare. But it's because I'm 5'11", 240, 250. So I'm a lot of fun for those people that scare because I'm this big dude. And so when they scare me, and my usual reaction to these things is, like, it's
That's almost as good as Victoria's catchphrase when she gets scared.
Which is what?
Go ahead, Victoria.
What do you say?
Do it. Tell me.
It's bitch why.
It is my favorite thing.
Bro. I'm crying.
It is my favorite thing about going to haunts with
do your job.
Like I do that. I'll react like crazy, just like motherfucker. But then I'll just laugh. Like it's extremely fun for me. But I'm a cat ready to jump onto the ceiling at any moment. I mean, that kind of shit works on me for some dumb reason, even though I know exactly. Like, I walk through those things, and I know how they're laid out. I know where the fucking boo holes are. I know exactly what's going to happen. I've designed these motherfucking things, and god damn it, they always get me like, ah!
Yeah.
So, I love them, but I am the worst for that. Like, I'm the best person to put at the front of the line. I'm really
the worst.
good.
You never want me at the front.
I am bait. My friends call me bait. They put me in the front because
just like Jeepers, how fun! Neat.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, gee,
okay.
Golly.
So I'm going to mention that I realize that I say the same things over and over again when I go through houses or mazes, and we'll talk about that when we talk about local haunts, because I noticed that about myself today when I posted a video. It's like, and I literally put on my video, why am I like this?
What? I am curious about Ghostbusters. I mean, it's one of those properties that I think is more nostalgic fun than scary for people to go to.
They usually have one.
Yeah, and I actually liked Frozen Empire. I have no issue with I don't really have an issue with the last 2 movies. I think people want like what it was, and it can't be that, and and you might as well enjoy what it is, which is like a family journey now. Yeah. So it works for me. But
I liked
how was it?
Yeah, I liked it. My favorite part of that was the Slimer puppet was very well done. I think that the performer was just like very intuitive with their scares, which you love to see. Dave, I see you smiling. You know exactly what I mean. Like when you get a performer in a role, somebody who knows how to look for the scare, especially in a puppeteering role, that's really what you want, because it really brings that character to life. So I really appreciated that portion. I again didn't see the movie before going to the house because wanted to be able to see if I could understand it, and you absolutely could. It was not a house that you're going through and you're just like, oh, this is scary. No, this was a house you're going through purely for artistic value. And I will say that artistically it was pretty beautifully done.
And that's true. The Ghostbusters maze they did a couple of years ago was the same thing. It wasn't particularly scary, but the environments were so beautiful, and the payoff of the Marshmallow Man at the end was so good. It was just really, really well thought out. You know,
you just want Janine to yell at you and say, "Ghostbusters, what do you want?"
Ghostbusters, what do you want?
That's really all you wanted.
You do? You have? We got one.
Yeah.
What else?
That's cool.
What else you got?
Anyone else?
I tried all the foods. I'm happy to answer questions about the food options.
Top 3 foods, top 3 drinks.
I would say I don't remember the names of the drinks. That's the problem with me. But I could tell you where I got them and roughly what was in them. But as far as foods, the summer camp hot dog, which is over in the Animal Actors area, very, very good. I really enjoyed that. It was a little bit on the spicy side. If you are not a spicy bitch, maybe watch or ask for no pepper relish on it. I did enjoy an honorable mention, I would say, would be the s'mores, the very viral s'mores. They were good. It was too much marshmallow. The marshmallow to chocolate to graham cracker ratio was a little skewed.
It looked
which is crucial. That's crucial in a s'more.
Right. I mean, that's
it was well done.
Yeah, I mean, you look at it and you go, well, clearly this is too much marshmallow. Like, it's pretty obvious. If you're shocked by that.
There is a whole Hershey bar on that bitch, and it is worth your money. Like, what you're spending, I think it's like $7. You're paying for a very large piece of s'mores, and it is definitely worth
the
worth
Hershey
what you're
bar
paying.
alone is $5.
I default on a higher degree of marshmallow in mine anyway, because I'm kind of in the pantheon of sweet flavors, I like chocolate. I love burnt sugar. I prefer like marshmallow, toffee, caramel. Those are my favorite flavors. So I'm okay with that. So it would probably be absolutely my jam.
Perfect. Yeah, no. But my other food item that I would say I really loved was the fish and chips. Also in the New York area at the essentially it's the Eternal Bloodlines themed booth. The fish and chips was really fantastic. The fries were had the right, they weren't soggy. They had the right like potato to crunch ratio. The fish was really well done. It was not overcooked. It was crispy, really moist inside. It was really perfect. And then the showstopper to me, which is not on anybody else's radar, but I will die on this hill, and that is the Boo and Batilda sugar cookies in the tribute store are the best dessert item in the entire park during Halloween Horror Nights. And I will die on that hill, and I very much know that I'm the only one who feels that way.
All right.
Well, that's okay. What about the poison apple? Did you have the poison apple? I'm curious because it looks like a poison apple, but clearly it's not a poison apple.
Yes. So I had a bite of it. I didn't purchase the whole thing. I did purchase the peanut butter cup. I tried to kind of like share with friends because I wasn't going to eat it all.
Sure, of course. Yeah. I've been there. It's
right.
It's a review more than anything.
If you like that like apple crisp type of flavor, it is definitely up your alley for sure.
Neat.
The peanut butter cup, though, the Cyclops cup, that tasted like if you've ever had those frozen Reese's like ice creams That it's just like the chocolate.
Okay.
That it's identical to that. Quite literally, the exact same thing.
All
right.
Worst house.
I would say the worst. Okay, so this is according to the population the worst house, but I thought it was great, and it is Goblin's Feast, because I want you to take in your close your eyes, and I want you to think of if Lord of the Rings became a Horror Nights house, and that is literally the entire vibe of that house.
I've
never seen Lord of the Rings. You walk in there, and it is, or The Hobbit, and it is quite literally the Shire. You are going into these homes of goblins, but it looks like the house of Bilbo Baggins. It just
we're the scary part is how close to copyright infringement we're getting.
Sorry.
No, not us. Them.
No, but literally, it's like if they took the set of The Hobbit and then put green masks on all of the performers, but they're dressed like hobbits.
Recycle, reuse.
Right. Mines of Moria is right there. What are we even doing? Right. Okay.
So
and with the Balrog, and it'd be great, you know.
But
Google this.
My least favorite house, though, was probably Triplets of Terror. I feel like it was missing something. So the story of it is great. It's a story that we've kind of heard before, where you're walking into someone's essentially like a manufactured home or a trailer, I think, and it's a story about these these triplets who murdered their entire family and then just went on a killing spree. And you walk through a hallway, and all the triplets are wearing a mask of a different animal. And you're walking through, and they do have like an Unsolved Mysteries TV show kind of playing to give you that story. That's the only reason I understood what was happening. And it literally sounded like Unsolved Mysteries, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But the problem is that the only performers in the whole house were the triplets. And I kind of got bored with seeing the same masks over and over. It was kind of like the Halloween house. That's the issue I had with that one last year, is just Michael Myers over and over and over again. Yeah. So it got kind of repetitive after a while.
Interesting.
I see.
So yeah, that's my
interesting though.
Least favorite.
I like the Unsolved Mysteries portion of it.
It's
I kind of wish
creative.
that was the house. I like that. I like the idea.
It was a concept of a plan.
Right.
They have a but you got to have like someone that looks like Robert Stack. You got to really go for it.
And the narrator sounded like him very much so.
Oh, that's fun.
Sure.
I'm really into that.
But so this has happened in years past, and Dave, I'm sure you remember this too, and Victoria, where they have this this licensed house that they have this plan for, and it falls through like a month before the event. And they have to replace it. Now, I don't know that that's what happened, but it kind of felt like that energy, like they didn't really quite plan it out.
That's what the streets.
What do you think it would have
saying.
been?
The Strangers.
Oh,
that's what the
three
streets
people
are
with
saying.
masks. It would have been the Strangers.
Yeah.
Because they just there was the Strangers prequel would have fit in just perfectly.
Yeah.
So that's just the energy that it has. We've had this with houses before, and so you.
I mean, to you, they're homes.
They are. I could live there. I really could.
Jessica.
Then there's.
I think I'm just traumatizing Sarah. I'm so sorry. I feel like I do this every year.
There's one, but then there's the one year where they were all lost to history. Like I would give my eye tooth to see the Billie Eilish house that never made it that year because of COVID, and all the fans were poo-pooing her. And I'm like, have you watched her fucking videos? Those things are terrifying.
Good.
Yeah,
I love her
first
music.
record. Me too. I love her. But that first record is all about night terrors. It's literally about your sleep paralysis demon. The whole record.
People said that about The Weeknd, and look, that works great.
And it's great.
I hear that one.
I hear
that was the
I
only
hear it's
one
really
I
good
didn't
this
do.
year. Yeah. Yeah. So anyway, but there's a whole category of those that are like lost to history that I would love to see again.
I do have a question for those that frequent Would you say that the amount of houses is like proportionate to the population of people that come in, like the amount of people that come in, or would you say that they are thinking of adding more, or like
I don't know how they could add more, to be honest.
No,
There's
they
space.
generally have always had like 8 to 10 houses every year, but the problem is that it's just getting so much more crowded. And there's really not
the lines are
anywhere right. But
the lines are ridiculous.
But that would be solved if they went back to having like 6 real scare zones where they could kind of swallow people up. The problem is that there used to be scare zones in a lot of areas that they can't do anymore because of copyright and licensing issues with Minions and that. So they can't have characters in those zones like they used to in years past. So they're kind of running out of places to put scare zones. And I really, really wish that they would utilize some more of their neutral space and make it more, make
a little bit better.
more scare zones, like over by that Transformers area.
Or they just go back to what they did that one year and also do it in islands.
Yeah, that one just gets a little bit tricky with, J.K. Rowling is a whole vibe.
That's a scare zone in itself.
I think the term you're looking for.
I mean, they can easily avoid
the term you're
that,
looking
though.
for is cunt. I think that's the term you're looking for.
I was trying to be professional, Nathan.
Well, that's my professional diagnosis.
I don't disagree with you, but
I would say that the scare zone
area that they could easily do something with.
Right. Oh, I agree. No. It's just that Marvel, Jurassic Park, and all that can't really be used.
No.
They can't cover it up with like Scrim or something?
No.
Like you can't do that for just like really?
No. Dr. Seuss can't be used. Obviously Harry
Potter.
Like
you can't put up like a tent and like cover it up?
No,
do you get what I mean?
Did it. I went the year, 1 year that they did it or 2? 1 year.
It was 2.
They did it 2 years. I went to one of them to that and it was fine. It just didn't, it didn't
look
right.
It
didn't slap. It didn't work.
Right. What's the word on the street about Epic? God, I can't imagine they're not going to want to use it. I'm talking 10 years after opening, but the desire.
It's another highly licensed park.
Yeah, but you have. Yeah. You literally have the Universal Monsters area.
You can ask.
That's all I'm saying. But
Alicia
no.
Oh, huh?
Nope.
It just seems like from Reddit, like what I was reading, that was the consistent complaint, which was the lack of scare zones that would like kind of be the people eaters. So. I mean,
yeah. I think they just need to. They focus so much energy on these IP houses, and I think that they need to maybe do less of those and kind of do stuff that's a little bit more like makes the experience a little more universal, for lack of a better term. Like it's. I feel like the quality changes based on if you're really big
there's
into
more cooks
houses,
in the kitchen.
Right.
Yeah, once Jason Blum has got to like check off 2 or 3 different things, it gets a little complicated.
Well, and Blumhouse last year was great. It was just the street fell flat.
Yeah, my thing I think is like I don't know if these houses that are licensed bring more people. I don't know anyone that it's a culture. It's like they go. So
you go for whatever has the shortest line. I feel like.
Well, people aren't going just for a particular house. They're going for the whole thing because you're not going to spend all that money on just one.
Right.
Oh God, no.
Right. So I don't know. It all peaked at Werewolf from London for me. So
American Werewolf.
That was a good house. That was a good house. I actually preferred the one in Hollywood.
Did you?
Yeah. I did.
Oh, interesting.
Nathan, have you ever been to
I'm baby. I'm not gonna spend that kind of money.
Not even
scared.
one. At least I've been to one. Okay, I got mine done.
Okay, congratulations.
I'm just saying, y'all can't call me the baby no more. That's Nathan.
I literally.
But you didn't go with me that one time.
Listen, I can't appreciate it. I'm even worse than Jessica. I'd be running through screaming. Like they wouldn't want me there. I literally cried, screamed my way through it, had panic attacks, almost fucking shit myself. Like I literally could not.
I'd pay to see that.
If anything, you should have came because that would have been great content for me.
Girl, are you gonna give me some of that ad money? Maybe I'll go, but I'm not for the free.
Victoria's over there being like, "Bitch, why?" And then Sarah shitting her pants. It's like the best viral video of all time.
Oh my gosh!
All right.
But
let me ask you about the local houses because that's where things get raw and Riley.
Well, that and also they're much more affordable for your average person who can't afford, like $130 for a Horror Nights ticket on a prime night. So that's what I love about them.
Okay, which ones did you do? What were the big ones, and what was the gnarliest?
So far, I've done 2 of the biggest ones, which would be Sir Henry's Haunted Trail in Plant City, Florida, which is more for the people who live more on the Tampa side, Lakeland area, and a petrified forest in Altamont Springs, Florida, which is right on my side of town. I've done some other little things, but nothing big, like certain spooky stores and things like that are local. As far as those are concerned, the ticket prices are roughly the same, about I think $28 to $30 for both of those haunts, which is much, much less expensive. One thing I do want to point out about each of their trails, let's talk about Sir Henry's first, again in Plant City, is that their trails are very, very well themed, and all of their performers are volunteers. So a lot of times you will have parents performing with their children in the same house or trail, which is really fun.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was talking to this woman who was volunteering there at the front of the house or trail, whatever you want to call it. And she was essentially telling me that her and her daughters have performed at this event together for the last 5 years. And it's just a fun thing that they all do. It is a volunteer thing. It's run by a family who literally lives on the property. And they don't really make any money off of it, but it is just something they love. They also do a Christmas one. They usually do some sort of Krampus theme, and they sometimes will throw in Valentine's Day throughout the year. But one thing I really loved, one trail in particular, is they had a Jack the Ripper themed one, which I loved.
That's cool.
Because it was a Jack the Ripper trail done right. Every scare wasn't Jack the Ripper. He was there plenty, but it was also a lot of victims. It was a lot of police officers. It was just a lot of atmospheric performers that were getting the scares, not just Jack the Ripper, which I really, really loved. But one thing about Sir Henry's, if you have a weak stomach in any capacity, you cannot go to this attraction. Victoria knows what I'm talking about. It is very gory. It is much more gory than some of the other attractions, even Halloween Horror Nights and Hallow-Scream, which unfortunately I'm going to next week. But it is, they turn up the gore because they can.
Is it like body horror, in that way?
Yeah, sometimes.
Just disgusting.
I mean,
intense. I will say that.
Are you okay if I describe one in particular to you?
Go ahead.
Yes,
okay.
please.
So there was this one performer, and I absolutely love this makeup. I want to interview and meet this makeup artist. I don't know who it is, but again, all volunteers. This young woman was walking around in kind of a Little Bo Peep type costume. However, she had headgear you would have on old school braces we used to have. However, her entire jaw was unhinged and teeth were pointing down and there was blood coming out. But she was just walking around that place. She was not even in a trail. So there were teeth from the bottom teeth were sticking down and her jaw was broken off with headgear. And I was like, this is amazing.
Oh
my God, that's awesome.
Yes. So that's one thing I love about these local haunts. They are truly hidden gems. I really think people sleep on them. And I think if you want an experience, especially you don't want to spend $100+ for one night where you're just going to be in lines for 3 hours at a time. I really think that is a good option. As far as petrified, I'm sorry, go ahead, Dave.
No, I was going to say SoCal's the same way. That's a whole other episode. We could talk about the SoCal local haunts.
Oh,
There's a ton of them.
Well, and as you know, I'm sure, well, you weren't there when you were older, Dave, but New Jersey is also known for a ton of local haunts.
Yeah.
Our area, the New Jersey Devil alone has so much stuff going on. And where Dave and I grew up, it's right near the Pine Barrens, which is the home of the Jersey Devil.
The Jersey Devil, yeah.
But the other event that I really want to highlight is a petrified forest, again in Altamont Springs. My favorite thing about this is that I did selfie walkthroughs. As a media person, you're allowed to do that, selfie mode. I refuse to film outward, regardless of if they tell us we can or not. I won't do it. But they requested that media only film themselves, which I was going to do anyway. But the trails were 10 minutes or longer, some of them. There was one that was 7.5, but there were two that were 10 minutes or more of straight walking. We weren't stopping. We were walking the whole time.
Jess, you got tricked into doing a hike.
Right. That's the true stay right there.
Yeah.
But one thing that I loved about them, and I wish other places, they had a DJ outside playing music while you're standing in line with strobe lights and shit, and I was like just vibing the whole time, waiting in line. Right. It was like a rave.
Give me my glow sticks.
Right, exactly. It was like a rave. But they also had a variety of food trucks and local vendors there. That was really nice. Cool. They had a lot of performers, again, just kind of wandering the area. I got there early as a member of the media, and I saw all of the performers do their meeting before they went into the houses. And there were so many. I was going through these trails, and I was seeing a performer constantly. They were just everywhere. And I love that. I love that they committed to not just having, things that looked gross, and they wanted to really bring performers into that interaction. That's one thing that I think events like Halloween Horror Nights are starting to lack on, is they're really not having enough characters in the houses to warrant the ticket prices, in my opinion. I think that these local haunts are much cheaper, and they have the performers to really get your value in, for sure.
That's awesome.
Yeah, they even had so there was this one trail there where you had to hold on to a rope because it was so dark you could not see your own feet. So you're walking through this trail in the dark, but then they are hitting you with strobe light effects to where they want you to look. So there was one in particular, if you're a fan of the now cult classic character at Universal of Batilda, which is a bat character they had last year and has now transcended into this year. They had a bat character literally on, it's not a zip line, but essentially like that.
Bungee. Where
they have kind of like that, but they were kind of like on a zip line type contraption where the strobe light would hit and then the bat would fly at you and then be pulled back.
Crazy.
And it was fantastic. I mean, I love bats, so like I have like 5 bats tattooed on my body at this moment.
You were like, neat.
Right. And but there were moments, I posted a selfie walkthrough. I had to edit it down because they're so long, of one of the trails just earlier today. And as I was editing it, I was just like, oh, that's cool. Or, oh gosh, like that's neat. And like literally over and over again. And I feel like it would make a really dangerous drinking game. Like every time I literally told my husband, I was like, why am I like this? Like, what is wrong with me? Well, no, first I asked him, I was like, do I really sound like that? And he's like, yeah.
Sorry.
But literally I bring my friend to a lot of these media events, and she gets such a kick out of my reactions to things. Victoria knows her. We call her Neighbor Patty. She used
Neighbor
to be
Patty.
an old neighbor of me. She came to all these events with me. And she literally is not on social media at all, but she is so great to go to these events with because she gets scared by nothing. Like, literally nothing. She's screaming behind me, and I love seeing these events. I bring her so I can see the event through her eyes because I don't see it
you're broken
the same
inside
way.
and nothing scares you.
No, excuse me, get it right. I'm dead inside.
Oh, true.
So get it right, Nathan. Okay. No, but anyway, so that's what I have to say about the local haunts. Don't sleep on them.
Cool.
They are really great options, not just in Central Florida, but everywhere.
Yep.
Well, we are we're going to get scared a little bit here because we are going to encounter some true theme park haunts in our next segment. Beware our guests. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we got some the true spookiest thing in the world, which is privileged people. Dave, what is our first very interesting encounter with I shouldn't say cast members, with guests, I guess, and cast members at Disneyland?
This is so dumb. People
was
were
embarrassing.
basically trash talking and dressing down a performer, a face character, the evil queen. They said that
yes.
Maleficent. Wait, was it Maleficent?
No,
it was
the
Maleficent.
It was Maleficent.
No, it was
No, it
Evil
was the-
Queen.
Oh, it was Evil
No,
Queen.
it's
I'm so sorry.
It's Evil Queen. No,
was
it's Evil
Evil-
Queen from
oh,
Snow White.
yeah.
She was there.
Yes.
She was there with Snow White.
Snow
Yes.
White.
Right.
And the video is so cringy. It's so fucking cringy.
So bad.
The family, evidently a family and her kids, she accused the evil queen of like bowling them over, stumbling over her kids or something. None of that's in the video, of course. It's just this mom and dad calling the evil queen ugly and that her makeup's awful and that her hair's terrible, and like not in a fun I'm gonna banter with the bad guy kind of way, because we've done
Right.
I've done that with
little read
Corella.
session.
I've done a little. I tried to talk back to Corella DeVille, and she reads me to filth,
fine.
and it's hilarious. You know,
Right.
I mean, if Cruella can't take on a homosexual, what's the point of a Cruella?
and that's the best part of interacting with Corella is she sees me, all my friends. She's like, I got you, girl,
Yeah.
and like she knows we're down to like read each other to film. Like you can always tell what the performers are down for it, and it's fun with characters like this when you know what the rules are, and the rules are not like personally calling somebody out or complaining that they stepped in your kid, because that's not what happened. I can guarantee you. It's not on the video, but I can guarantee you that's not what happened.
No.
You know?
I've been down this road plenty of times as a Disney villain
bet.
myself.
I bet.
I've been
I bet.
called fat. I've been called every name in the book. It's just people see us and they think like, oh, I can verbally abuse and harass this person because they're
Right.
supposed to be bad. They don't realize like, hey, we're just doing our job. Like,
Yeah.
That's just weird. It's just weird. Like,
but this is why I'm so anti-posting stuff on social media like that. Like, I'm just so against it. I will never be okay with it.
I heard a good term for that the other day. It's usually for when you're filming somebody and they're just living their life and you're making fun of them, and it's awful when people do that, right? Like there was a thing recently about
It's
some
weird.
trans employee at one of the New York museums who was just living their life, and somebody
I saw
like
that.
from libs of TikTok, it was awful. But the term I heard, it was panoptic content.
oh,
For the young viewers, the young listeners who
lovely.
don't know what the panopticon is, go look it up, because it's a suitable term for this, and it's perfect actually.
Yeah.
This is a good example of panoptic content, very much so.
I think what's
go
Sorry,
ahead, Tara.
I was
please.
going to say the
No.
most interesting part for me was Snow White's reaction by
Yeah?
calling those people grumpy. Like it
Yeah.
was, I was very surprised, and I love that face character
Yes.
ended up standing up for them, but totally still remaining in character in the
Yeah.
best way.
We love
so
that.
that part was
Yeah.
really awesome.
That happened
All
with
the
me
time.
with the Cinderella, who was a friend of mine in real life, and somebody was calling me fat and yelling at me, and I walked away and didn't do the autograph. I just like walked away, and she like went over and like, I don't know what she said, but he came up and like the dad was the one saying it. He apologized to me, and I was like, I don't know what she said, but she's savage as fuck. Like,
we
That's my
walked up to-
stepmom you're talking about.
Yeah.
You can't talk to my stepmom like that.
I can only tell her that. Okay.
I know.
Me and some gays walked up to Snow White, and she had the dwarves with her. And one of my friends thought he was being clever. He's like, "How's your brother Barry White, the singer?" And she goes, "Barry, I don't think do I have a brother Barry?" And she looks at Doc, and Doc goes like this, and she goes, "Doc thinks you're crazy." Like it was just like without missing a beat, and it's like that's how it's done, right?
Yeah, right.
So I was very proud of this Snow White for the way she handled it. And
Also,
the Queen,
good like a primo Snow White vibe. Like she's got the look down, like real good looking.
Voice is perfect.
Real Betty Boop sort of,
Yeah.
like wide-eyed Snow White. I really was happy with it. And then they walked off together holding hands, which I was like,
hands.
I love that.
like you brought these two people together of all people.
Yeah, one time I would do this thing where I would tell Cinderella I was going to show her affection. I would just place my hand on her shoulder, and she would just be like she was so like it's so much fun if you're with the right co-cast.
Oh yeah.
But do these guests? Did they have any idea of how awful they look? Like, do they think they gained anything out of that?
It looks very clear. I think the situation was because they were walking through, so I'm guessing maybe the kids wanted a picture, and then the face characters didn't see the kids, and then the parents got mad. That's what it looks like.
That's what it
But
seems
that
like.
happens all the time.
It happens all the time, but I think even think of if I was the parent and I knew that my kids were there, my kids are seeing me look stupid. That's what basically happened.
Yeah.
It's absolutely embarrassing.
What I don't get is like, what is your life if your response to maybe even justifiably getting like bowled over by a person? I'm saying I'm giving them the biggest benefit of the doubt I can, right? Mm-hmm. What is your life that your response to that is you're ugly?
Like it happens all the
and it
time.
ain't coming from pretty people that said that. Let's be very clear. Looking real basic over there.
Okay, that was the best you could do? Honestly?
Yeah. Really? Like, if you're going to go for someone's looks, you clearly are stupid.
But Jessica, I'm sure that when you were a face character, some of the best times were on gay days, right? Like when you can, like.
Well, yeah, my character wore all red, of course.
Oh.
My character wore all red, and so I would have these amazing lesbians say, like, "Would you ever marry a woman?" And I was like, "Well, is she a rich woman?" That was my only question.
I love that.
Whatever. It's the best time. Literally, to be a character, to be a face character who wears all red during gay days. So,
it's perfect.
Lady Tremaine, Gaston, like, we lived our best lives.
Pooh Bear. We used to all the bears would go around Pooh Bear and like rub his belly and stuff. And he'd be like,
he loved it.
He loved it. Yeah.
Performers live for days like that. I always wanted to be at Grand Floridian for dinner on that weekend. It was so much fun.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Oh,
and we would do parade and go down Main Street, with at that we called it CCC, but Celebrated Dream Come True parade at the time.
Yeah.
And the amount of just the sea of red, and they would be screaming for those of us who were wearing red so loud. You could not, they were just egging us on. It was great.
So good. So good.
I loved it. It was so fun.
Love that.
We have one more story in this category, and that is, of course, from Victoria. Victoria, we have, I guess we have some TikToking clout that someone's chasing.
Yeah, so I never heard of this TikTok person until now, but apparently they're very popular on TikTok called Cecily Botchman, and basically she shared a behind the scenes TikTok, which is of course now gone, of her basically being like, yeah, there's a hurricane coming and me and my family are packing and about to leave for the airport in an hour to go to Disney World in the midst of this hurricane. And they did, but that all the videos are basically gone because there was so much backlash. So,
but the internet is forever.
But the internet is forever, so they're still there.
Yes.
So she's getting a lot of backlash for that.
And if you look her up, she's got like $2 million. She's got like a net worth of like $2 or $3 million. She's an influencer. She's like a pastor's wife. She's a
Yeah.
She's like a mom. She's a mom vlogger. She's like a super mom blogger, and whatever. Like, boo-hoo, lady, boo-hoo.
I will say that when she did her apology video, she had that cross front and center. I'm telling you that.
Mm-hmm.
It was she was making it like purposely like I am a woman of God. I'm like, that ain't got nothing to do with the shit you pulled.
Now here's the problem. We're talking about it. I mean, in the end,
oh no,
an apology video makes you the same amount of money as another video.
Yes,
definitely.
You know?
Well, you put it on the agenda.
I do wonder in these types of situations if it's not even them at fault, but more so the rhetoric that's put around Disney World and hurricanes. Because I constantly hear the safest place that you can be in Florida is at Disney World. And it's like a lot of people think that it is safe to go. So I don't know. I don't want to give her an excuse.
You can go and stay at the resort, but if they close, they close. Like it's not unsafe, but it's also just you're
a waste of money.
Right.
I mean, honestly, you're not even taking a flight away from someone who wants to leave because you're coming. You know, like I don't.
And my thing is, it's not like you're losing money because they always do. They always waive the cancellation fees. They always waive the change fees. So it's not like you can't push your trip back. They do it every time for an emergency.
Right.
Like you can always push your trip back. So there's legit no excuse.
And in my time when I lived close to Disney, I had a little bit of friction from a couple people because honest to God, the best days I've ever had at Disney were like a day or two before a hurricane. They're incredible. If you live there, you're prepped, you're ready. There's nothing else to do. It's not a tornado. You know when it's coming, and so you go to Disney, and there's nobody there. I did a full 180 in Fantasyland and saw nobody. It was crazy.
Wow.
Although didn't they have a tornado this time? Wasn't there like a rare Floridian
tornado? There were several tornadoes.
like 35.
There was
like
really? I saw just 3 big ones.
No, there was like a record number of tornadoes throughout the state.
Statewide,
but
those
were
like
hurricanes
40 something.
Something about that.
None came to the Tampa Orlando area. I don't think it was all slightly south.
It was like the villages got it, and a lot of Osceola County.
Sorry, that was mean. That was
Fort
mean.
Myers.
I'll admit.
No,
Fort Myers
so
got
like
it.
it mostly was the villages, the Osceola County area, and then like down by like Fort Myers. I think they had a really bad one.
Yeah, that one was really bad.
I think it's the only thing for me. I would say you shouldn't go because cast members are going to be working, but then again, they're scheduled regardless. So it's like regardless. I have no idea like what. I just want to go.
They're not gonna like. You know, if they close the park, they'll close the park. If they did it midday, which they've never done, but if they did, then they'll make me leave and the cast members can go home. Like, there's nothing that when you're there that you can do. But people online see it as like, I don't know, like you're running through a graveyard. Like, it's this weird sort of, they just think like, hey, this is a serious time and you shouldn't be having any fun because nobody else is having any fun.
Well,
and,
that is the odd thing, yeah.
From a social media perspective, maybe. But
I think as somebody who is living in it, I think the problem with especially creators coming down and doing it is that they often like are very tone deaf in how they cover it. They get very bratty. They get very complainy when it comes to not having things they're used to. But so they're complaining about things while people are having their lives put at risk. So it's just like never a good look. It never ends well. And I'm like,
never does.
Is it worth it? No, it's not.
No. I mean,
really
we back at WDWNT days, we would have usually it was Tom, but some journalists would go and stay on property and sort of get the vibe. And people would get upset about that, but I in the end I was kind of saying like he's gonna let you know what's destroyed. Like he's gonna like there. It's information. Like there's nothing wrong with a reporter going and doing reporting.
Well, people were saying it was because it was taking rooms away from people that could evacuate to Disney.
Yeah,
that's what I kept seeing.
Because those on the because what we know about Orlando is those that are living on the Orange Blossom Trail are definitely going to take a couple nights, couple nights over there at the Grand Flow.
They're going to pay $1,500 like Victoria's.
Hey,
person.
look,
their house costs 3 days
nice at the end of the month. That's all I'm saying. I ain't mad at it.
I know that's right.
No, let's not. Let's not act like.
I think
it's all of a sudden some beautiful sanctuary for the needy and poor.
That's the thing. I feel like with social media, so many people think that they know what's happening in these spaces. Like there's comments. I've seen comments on people's TikToks where they're saying, "I'm not evacuating because I literally cannot," and people will be like, "How dare you not evacuate? You are putting people's lives at risk. What is going on?" Da 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 da. I'm like, bro, if that's their choice, if they don't want to, they don't want to, and they probably know far more better than me over here in California that has never experienced a hurricane. I don't know what's going on over there.
Also, let's point out, evacuating is not free.
It's not.
No.
Exactly.
And not necessarily safe.
No, I mean, I have family in New Jersey and in Missouri. I do have places I could go. But the fact that my family is trying to encourage me to evacuate, nothing happened at my house. But I said to my family, I was like, I have to leave the roads open for the people in Tampa, Sarasota that need to evacuate, whose lives are actually at risk. Me, no. And also, think about gas, think about lodging, thinking about food and all these things. Like, you need to have a good several $100s just to take your things and get out and have a place to be.
Exactly.
And some people just can't physically.
They can't
do
it.
There are so many disabled people that are being lost in this conversation, and I think that is like the worst part.
Yeah, I brought that up actually. I was like, there's so many people that are like homeless or elderly or alone or have pets, and they just can't go. Not to mention, and I noticed this during Irma because that was my first hurricane like ever. Like, even if I had the money to fly out, but like the airlines were price gouging like crazy. Like, for me to just get out one way was $1,500.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and people don't recognize that. Yeah, and people don't recognize that gas stations run out of gas.
They run out,
and they ran out.
Yes,
and they ran out so fast.
It's so disturbing when you encounter that. Like, it feels like, you can't do anything. But what are you supposed to do then? Like, you can't.
Right. Like, you can't do anything. You just gotta.
Yeah.
It's odd that regular people are being blamed for the lack of infrastructure. Like, that's straight up what it is. Like, it's not people's fault.
Yeah. So. On the same token, this lady is bad and not.
No, she's shitty.
Oh
she's awful.
Let's be clear.
We're not defending her. We're talking about the residents of Florida, okay, that cannot leave.
Correct.
Because she took her and her family on purpose into this shit.
Mm-hmm.
But
she could have been staying in her home, praying with her pastor husband for better relief. But no.
Bless. But no. Anyway. With that, I think it's time to go to the last and our favorite segment of every episode, which is the Astuter Computer Poem of the Week.
That's why I'm a router for me computer. Everybody needs a friend. What?
Oh, Astuter, my sweet Astuter. What do you have to tell us about this news this week? What sort of beautiful haiku might you have during this time? Let's see here. Let's see. Storm winds howl outside. Peanut butter jelly waits. Storm snack, $10. Thank you,
Bars.
The $10.
It never misses.
That's a good one.
It's always
the Studer's making some points.
I want that Stitch Storm.
Studer has some opinions.
Relevant.
I want that Stitch.
Is it so political?
Studer's like down with capitalism.
Yeah. Which is good of him. I mean, he's never tried peanut butter and jelly. It's not good for his circuits.
No.
That is sticky.
Yeah, he understands. He understands economics. He's got the brain. With that, we've come to the end of this wonderful, slightly longer than normal episode, which we love because we had our good friend Jess here, who has such wonderful information about about the Halloween season, and you can follow her where, Jessica?
On Instagram at tremainetok Jessica, and on TikTok at tremainetok.
Wonderful. We love it. Everyone go follow her. Good stuff to be had. Rat Castle is produced, of course, by myself, and Sarah helps out as a producer on the pre-production end. And, of course, our social media producer is Victoria. Thank you, Victoria. We love our rats helping out. Y'all, if all works out, next time we're here, I'll be fresh from Dollywood. So we'll have some Dollywood reviews.
Yes.
I'll have my little hat. I'll get a little cowboy hat. It'll be wonderful times, and we'll have some good conversation about that. So stay tuned. That'll be sooner than you can expect. And if you want more about what we're up to, you can go to ratcastlepod.com. And then also do not forget, if you've not checked out the other show that I do, which is Fun with Disney Dan Becker. We've been doing that weekly, and I produce on that. And then some episodes, it's just me and him talking about the topic on hand. There's an episode coming up the same day that this is released, that will be not only Dan and I celebrating his 100th Distry episode, but also Kevin from Defunctland and gosh, who else? There's so many people. Rob.
Y'all got the celebrities.
Rob
Kevin
plays.
Purger?
Just we're purging up here over there at Fun. So it's good times. All those guys are great friends, and so they have a good conversation about the YouTube community and what it's like since they've started. So it's a good little listen. And yeah, so there you go. With that, please grab your belongings. Watch out for those boo holes, and exit to your left.
Will you stop this foolishness?
What foolishness would you like to see?
Will you get out of here?
This has been a production of 710 Media.